Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is another episode of Strange Happenings. Every week, we're bringing you the strange. I'm your host, Mikey. As always, riding shotgun, Bub. We have no Rolo tonight, just so everybody knows.
Nope.
Rolo's not going to be riding in the back seat with us, unfortunately. He couldn't make his appearance.
He's playing hooky.
But always, Stoner, hitting all the magical buttons, the wizard and master control, and always Disbro, making everything sound amazing.
Oh, yeah. It
Couldn't do
nice.
it without those guys. And we have a pretty awesome show.
As always, there's a
for
lot
you guys.
happening.
There is a lot happening.
And it's all
we're
strange.
Bringing some things back full circle, I think, from we've been kind of, a lot of these stories are tied together week to week.
Seems like.
You know, we've been kind of following the UAP stuff.
Oh, sure.
Took a big break from that, but we've got some, just a quick update on the UAPs that have been shot down so far in 2023. So, yeah, it's going to be a good one. And what's up, everybody in the chat? Anybody that was able to join us? Necro, I see you in there. What's happening, boss? The last image he created was just
pretty great.
Ridiculous. Unbelievable. Us
they're always
taking
funny.
over the reptilian agenda.
The Owlians.
Yes.
Disbro is an owl. That one's even
amazing. Stoner had the protection spell. Just getting
it was so
chomped
good.
on.
It was so good. What's up, Flutz?
Flutz Capacitor, how you doing, buddy?
Yo.
Yeah, shout outs. Lots of new YouTube subscribers.
Yeah.
Facebook group folks. We appreciate all the support. We've still seeing a lot of growth in the audio platform. People are listening, which is cool.
Yeah, we're happy. We're very thankful.
To all those folks listening all over the world.
Yeah,
kind of weird
definitely,
to say.
Definitely.
Australia's bringing it hard.
I love it.
Australia.
I really want to go there sometime.
Bringing a strong game.
I really need to get to Australia at some point.
Bringing a strong game.
New Zealand I've been to, and it's beautiful. So
the UK.
Never been.
In second place, I believe.
Fish and chips.
Oh, hey, dude. I
can dig that.
Fish and chips just isn't probably the same. It's not. We stayed in London.
What do you mean it's not the same?
In England for a couple days.
Over there.
Oh, no, over here.
Well, yeah.
Fish and chips over there. Oh, my God. It's a whole...
That's a different life.
It's an experience.
I'd probably eat a lot more. I think they call them crisps. Well, chips.
Right.
Crisps are actually potato chips, if I'm
right.
I think I've got that down correctly.
Right.
I know my snacks.
Learn that quick.
I know my snacks of the world. I've eaten a grasshopper. It's not worth it. I think you're supposed to take the legs off.
Hey, how are you? Backyard TV, what's happening? Born Not to Run. What's up, man?
I don't have a passport. I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, dude, we gotta get you. We gotta get you a passport.
If you don't go out of the country, at least go around in the U.S. to different places and like get out.
Yeah.
Well, you don't even have to do that. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. But I found out, I think, when I was driving across country for different events and life events, that like when you drive across the country, you're like, man, this is so much like flying over it. You don't get a sense of it like.
Yeah.
Driving it is
especially the American Southwest route, Interstate 40. Man.
I drove
awesome.
Route 66 for a bit. Yeah, I mean...
You get off that pretty quick.
Highway 1, yeah.
Route 66 is rough.
We stopped at a burger joint somewhere, out in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, I mean, the, like, kitschy factor was at, like, it blew off the scales. It was so strange.
Yeah.
It was like, it was a good cheeseburger, but I wanted to get out of there. I don't know.
Well...
Don't want to get stranded in the hills have eyes.
And one quick mention. So we've got strange happenings tonight, but later tonight we have something else cooking, Bub.
Well, I think we're calling this Double Down.
Yeah, this is the double dip.
This is the double dip.
Tonight we're going live at
2
8
scoops
p.m.
of Strange Road flavor.
Tonight we're going live with Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress.
Yes.
At 8.
That's going to be great.
And we have questions.
I think she's got a lot of answers.
Yeah, I believe so,
Or at least
too.
she's got a lot of stories to have more questions.
She's got some deep field research. We'll put it that way.
I'm stoked. I'm pretty stoked.
We're looking forward to that. So with that said, let's jump into the articles.
Hop right in. Water's warm.
Let's do it. So one thing we've been kind of looking at and covering, we haven't covered it just yet, but there's been a lot of content creators and people hitting us up about, hey, are you on Clapper? These Senate investigation.
I don't know what
Congress is. It's a video creator app like a Shorts or Reels or TikToks.
TikTok. Okay. Clapper, audience applause. Okay, I got you.
So, we've been kind of looking at some of the headlines with TikTok ban potentially coming down the pipe.
Been a hot topic for quite a while. Right? Like, this isn't new. This has been churning and churning for a while.
Now this bill is becoming real, it seems.
Okay.
That they're going to try to push this thing through.
All right, dig in.
This is a Reuters article. And
Reuters.
The White House backed legislation introduced on Tuesday by a dozen senators to give the administration new powers to ban Chinese-owned video app TikTok and other foreign-based technologies if they pose national security threats. The endorsement boosts efforts by a number of lawmakers to ban the popular app, which is owned by a Chinese company, ByteDance, and used by more than 100 million Americans. The bill would give the Commerce Department the ability to impose restrictions up to and including banning TikTok and other technologies that pose national security risks, said Democratic Senator Mark Warner, who chairs the Intelligence Committee. It would also apply to foreign technologies from China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, Venezuela, and Cuba, he said. TikTok criticized the measure, saying in a statement that any U.S. ban on TikTok is a ban on the export of American culture and values to billion-plus people who use our service worldwide.
Okay.
The bill would require Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo to identify and address foreign threats to information and communication, technology products and services. Raimondo's office declined to comment, clearly. TikTok had come under increasing fire over fears that user data would end up in the hands of the Chinese government. Okay? The senators introduced this legislation led by Warner and Republican John Thune, also including Democrats Tammy Baldwin, Joe Manchin, Michael Bennett, Kirsten Gillibrand, Martin Heinrich, along with Republicans Deb Fischer, Jerry Moran, Dan Sullivan, Susan Collins, and Mitt Romney. They never do anything bipartisan ever.
Right.
Hardly.
Well, not publicly. No, not publicly. Now, but they do a lot of stuff together behind closed doors.
A big red flag to me right off rip is how many of the left and the right are coming together to do this. So, okay, let's say it is a backdoor to Chinese, the ability to grab our data and information. Who knows?
Grab you by the data?
I mean, you can read your user agreement when you download it. You can read that.
Yeah. Well, but that's all come to light too, even with Apple and the introduction of you can deny that ability to track. That's new. Well, that's what hurt. Right. That hurt Facebook a lot when that was implemented.
In the App Store, 100%.
That hurt a lot of these companies that
sell ads.
The premise of saying if something's free, you're the product. You ever heard that about applications and technology?
Like Robinhood.
Anything? Sure. Even that too. But I'm saying Twitter being free, all the apps you use for free, why are they free? They have to get something. They don't do it out of the goodness of their heart to make an app for you in the world. So there's money being made somewhere, and that is you are the product, and we don't know that a lot of times. And we're like, oh my God, my phone or my computer just offered up that thing I've been talking about or searching for the last couple of days, or even mentioned. I might not even search it. It's just the passive listening of things. It's wild.
Well, it gets better. The White House National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, praised the bipartisan bill.
Hallelujah!
Saying it would strengthen our ability to address discrete risks posed by individual transactions and systemic risk posed by certain classes of transactions involving countries of concern and sensitive technology sectors. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Looks good.
Looks good on paper.
Looks good. Sounds good. Must be good.
We look forward to continue to work with both Democrats and Republicans on this bill and urge Congress to act quickly to send it to the president's desk, he said in a statement. I'm not taking a side on any of this because I just don't know enough. We're just talking about this at this point. Do we need to be protected from if it's connected to China? I don't know. But here's the thing about this. a lot of people on TikTok are talking about how they're using this as some kind of a Trojan horse to bring in internet restrictions. So TikTok could be the first.
It's been a goal. It's a goal.
Essentially to use TikTok to sneak these bills in, these laws in.
Sure.
That Stone, one more time, what was that bill called? The restriction bill? Internet restriction or something? Oh, the Restrict Act. So it's a very specific to even, usually it's like the Patriot Act where it makes you feel all warm and fuzzy, like, oh, the Patriot Act, we're patriots, it's a good thing, right? Well, no, it completely obliterates most of the Constitution. But with this, for example, I mean, the SOPA bill, that was like 2014. They were trying to sneak that in. People stood up.
Yeah.
Everybody banded together and was like, no, this is not happening.
Yeah, trying to control the internet.
But you can use TikTok, this situation, build a big, I don't know what's going on. But there are two sides to every, it's not black and white. It's not a gray area. You know, it's getting people stirred up like, oh, we got to be protected. The government's got to protect us from TikTok. You know, bipartisan.
Yeah, I don't know about that feeling.
So it goes on to say, you know, the House Foreign Affairs Committee last week voted along party lines on a bill sponsored by Republican Representative Michael McCall to give Biden the power to ban TikTok after President Donald Trump was stymied by courts in 2020 in his effort to ban TikTok and Chinese messaging app WeChat. Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of governmental presence on social media and messaging apps.
I'm just worried that it's a way to start banning and controlling, you know, it's the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah. I mean,
it starts this precedent to now, you know, the internet becomes this highly restricted place where shows like this and, you know, really don't exist.
That's scary.
Right.
I hope it doesn't go that far.
Well, me either. But it creates a precedent for more control. So I'm not a fan of it. And like I said, I don't know enough about this, but we're covering it. You know, obviously go do your own research. I know I'm going to keep an eye on this for sure.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
But let's move on because it's kind of bumming me out a little bit. I'll do this one too.
Go for it. Go ahead.
This is thearchaeologist.org. Could the sunken city of Cuba be Atlantis? This is March 26th, very recent. Just over a decade ago, a team of explorers were working on an exploration and survey mission off the western coast of Cuba when their sonar equipment picked up a perplexing series of stone structures lying some 650 meters below the surface. The structures appeared completely analogous against the barren desert of the ocean floor and seemed to show symmetrically organized stones reminiscent of an urban development. A media flurry soon ensued with the news sites sporting headlines such as Atlantis discovered in Cuba and Lost City of the Caribbean found. However, the finding attracted the attention of the government, National Museum, and National Geographic, who all made promises to investigate the strange sonar images. Now, more than 10 years on, the story has disappeared into obscurity. Whatever happened to the sunken ruins off Cuba? Were they ever fully investigated? And why has the media fallen silent on this unusual discovery? Because they went down there at night in a bunch of really high-tech submarines and already scanned it and already have every single piece of detail that you could ever have on it.
Right.
And probably it's some super, super ancient... Okay. We'll get there. There's a cool map that we're going to see here in a little bit. But, I mean...
What were you going to say? You had something you were ready to get at. What? Come on.
Take my blood pressure down a little bit.
He's like... I was
we'll
like,
get
come
there,
on, man.
Because we're going to keep scrolling. The discovery was first made in 2001 when Pauline... you got that? Zalitsky, a marine engineer, and her husband, Paul Weiswig, owner of the Canadian company called Advanced Digital Communications, or ADC, working on a survey mission in conjunction with the Cuban government off the tip of the Guanchahacabib. Oh my gosh, I'm not even going to try. Peninsula in the Pinar del Rio province of Cuba. ADC was one of the 4 firms working in joint venture with President Fidel Castro's government to explore Cuban waters, which hold hundreds of treasure-laden ships from the Spanish colonial area.
Let's get in there.
The team was using advanced sonar equipment to scan 2 square kilometers the area floor when they noticed a series of symmetrical and geometric stone structures resembling an urban complex. Upon studying the sonar images, Zalitki observed what appeared to be unusual formations of smooth blocks, crests, and geometric shapes. Some of the blocks looked like they were built in pyramid shapes. Others were circular. They brought geologist Manuel Iturralde, senior researcher of Cuba's Natural History Museum, this time equipped with remotely operated vehicle to examine and film the structures. The images revealed large blocks of stone resembling hewn granite measuring about 8 feet by 10 feet. Some blocks appeared deliberately stacked on top of one another. Others appeared isolated from the rest. Zalitsky said that the images appeared to reflect the ruins of a submerged city, but was reluctant to draw a conclusion without further notice. So if you scroll down here and see this map of Cuba, and you see where the Bahamas are, this is what I was like going, eh. So you can see this triangle. So the eastern side of Cuba to the western side of Cuba, and then all the way up past, up through pretty much where Aruba, the Bahamas, all that was above water. Part of it was connected to, that's the Yucatan Peninsula right there. That's the home of the Maya.
So they're walking.
I mean, there's that right there.
They're walking across that.
Was
this back when the
I'm saying it was
glaciers held more water? I totally agree with you. I get what you're saying.
It was all a landmass.
Do we know for sure that those points are high enough that they would connect?
Well, right there, that's just right off the tip of Cuba. So there's not any shelf that's going down right there. That's I
mean, I've been down to Andros in the Bahamas, the largest island but the least inhabited, on like a biology field trip back in the day.
There's so many islands, dude.
I know, but nobody goes to Andros. Like they have old, Spanish settlements there still in cannons and what have you, and a lady that sells one flavor of ice cream at the end of the lane. Like you're happy that they had vanilla, baby.
Yeah.
Anything.
Well, if it was one flavor, that'd be my guess.
Yeah.
You're not getting chocolate.
Yeah. No, it was really good. My gosh. Delicious.
Oh, yeah. Pretty homemade.
Mm-hmm. It was good stuff. But yeah, I mean, I can get down
the
with
Bahamas,
what you're saying.
the east side of the Bahamas there on that map.
Yeah.
That's where the Bimini Road is.
Okay.
So, I mean, imagine where all that water is. That was all land. How many little cities are underneath that water? They're going to start finding untold amount with this LiDAR technology.
Can they use that underwater?
Well,
the LiDAR underwater?
No, but remember last week or the week before, we covered another sunken city.
Would a laser not penetrate water? I mean, in a similar fashion to...
It's the.
I mean,
it's not LiDAR. It's a different technology.
I remember they drag those like sonar things behind them, the buoys. They look like the dummy seals for great white sharks to come up.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, why can't we use LiDAR to ping that bottom?
I don't know if that works in water. I think
that's what I'm saying. Is it something that like the water refracts the laser as it shoots down, and
you got to get
you don't get a solid
water
image back, but that sonar is getting pinged off something solid. It's transmitting through the water and not being distorted as much by it.
When
I don't
it hits
know.
The ground,
we need somebody that's very educated in that area.
We don't know much about these technologies in terms of the science.
I wish we could just drain the world like a bathtub and see what's on the bottom.
Dude, there was a show. Wasn't that a show on like Discovery Channel back in the day?
I don't know if it was, but that'd be a great movie. Or if it was a show, I'd like to watch it. Like imagine if all the water just like dissipated from the earth. Like when we get super hot, like as the sun heats up and it turns into that red giant in 4 billion years, and we're cooked anyways. So like we got to get off the planet at some point,
right?
Because the sun's going to kill us all if there's anybody here at that level, right? But what if all that heats up and the last people that are here haven't left, and like all the water's drying up, and then they're discovering all the like ruins and lost cities.
Oh,
and ant people are coming out from the center of the earth.
Maybe that's where we take the the time travel or the portal to is that time.
That time right before the sun gets too hot.
All the sunken cities are revealed.
I have never thought about that, but it's going to happen.
Hey, you're talking about a time travel trip. Maybe that's a point that
I've never gotten this excited about thinking about the world, blowing up, but it sounds cool.
It is cool.
I hope we're watching from very far away by this point in time.
Exactly. So now
we're watching a live stream of the sun destroying the Earth from like another galaxy away.
Oh yeah, you'd be in a ship.
Wouldn't that be crazy? We got our little probe. Style. We got our own little Deep Black Knight satellite telecasting it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Intergalactically.
Right. Exactly.
That's wild. Yeah, that's wild.
So estimating that it would have taken 50,000 years for such a structure to have sunken to the depth at which they were said to be found.
Say it again. What was it? How many years?
50,000 years ago is when that land was above, that city was above water.
And there's thoughts that the city of Atlantis could be around this area at some
Well,
points,
Atlantis
right?
is like 60 to 20,000 years, or right before the Younger Dryas. Who really knows? But Atlantis
is that what
could
they
go
say
back
about this area, or they just think it's just a place they haven't found before? Is what you're saying?
No, geologically, they are saying that 50,000 years ago was when this was above water.
Right.
It's just the geology. This Iturralde added 50,000 years ago. That wasn't the architectural capacity in any of the cultures we know of to build complex buildings. A specialist in underwater archaeology at Florida State University added, "It would be cool if they were right, but it would be real advanced for anything we would see in the new world for that time frame. The structures are out of time and place." Well, how many aren't? They all are. Mm-hmm. So many of them are. I mean, just because it's underwater, I mean, these ruins probably look like, if they're really that big as stones, they probably look Mayan-ish. The Yucatan's right there.
I mean, I would like to see how big they are.
Yeah.
I mean, historically speaking, megalithic stone structures were pretty in vogue across the globe. How they do all this stuff. And if it's 50,000 years old, how did they do it?
Well, that's just when it went underwater.
Oh, my God.
If it could have been, who knows, how long it could have been there, when was it really built. In the media storm that followed the announcement of the discovery, news sites were quick to draw parallels with the fabled lost city of Atlantis. However, Zalitsky and Weisenweg were unwilling to make such comparisons. "The story is myth," said Zalitsky. "What we have found is more likely remnants of a local culture, once located in a 100-mile land bridge that joins Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula with Cuba." Iturralde added that there were local legends of the Maya and native Yucatecos that tell of an island inhabited by their ancestors that vanished beneath the waves. Nevertheless,
sounds logical.
Yep, Iturralde does not discount the possibility that the rock formations are merely the result of wonders of Mother Nature. Nature is able to create some really unimaginable structures, he said. At no point during the Ice Age would it have been above sea level, unless, of course, the land which they stand has sunk. This is the claim made for Atlantis. According to Plato's account, it was destroyed by violent earthquakes and floods. So this is being dismissed as anything unique or amazing, or it doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't fit the paradigm. So it's just poo-pooed away.
Nothing to see here, folks.
Now, I mean, it is interesting that it could be Mayan-related, Mayan-connected, if that was a land bridge. But you're saying now that the Maya, 50,000 years ago, that they would be around, right? Or their mother culture, somebody would have to be around at that time I don't know. There's a lot of things that just aren't well thought out in some of these responses.
I mean, it's like, I just had.
Do we want to believe it's Atlantis? Yeah, it's a lot of fun to believe.
Well, and I don't just want to believe it's that. But
here's the thing:
more of
Atlantis
I want to know for sure.
Was a culture. Yeah, it was a city that was,
right,
but at concentric rings,
right.
But just
Atlanteans,
like New York City is a city, but it's part of the American empire in this kind of global system,
right?
Atlantis could have been this worldwide civilization where it's in Cuba, it's in Egypt, it's in, it's in South America, Peru, in the Amazon,
Sure.
in Mexico,
Sure.
Global, all over China.
Yeah, global. I don't know if they were global though. Wouldn't you think they would have, just like we would know, they would still be ruling the planet.
Right.
Well, not I guess, but you would. I don't know. There would be a contiguous history line of them. I think. I don't know.
Well, they're not researching it enough, so we'll never know.
I'm just saying, like, if you were of Atlantean descent somewhere along the way, I don't know. I think there would still be like enough of a core of them that they'd be like, yeah, we're Atlanteans, just like there's Native Americans and what have you. Get what I'm saying? Like, there'd be enough of a lineage trail that's still traceable of like groups of population still going.
Yeah, unless the whole world got obliterated in the Younger Dryas 12,800 years ago.
That's when you think it took them all out?
I mean, that's what Randall and Graham.
But if that took everybody out, there had to still be people here. Well, because people are still here.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure there are groups around the world that.
So I see what you're saying now.
And restarted civilization.
Now. But they might have been very small, fractured.
Small populations, yeah.
Over hundreds, if not thousands of years, though. Right. They did kind of lose all of that remembrance of their actual history and lineage. Mm-hmm. Maybe some have a little bit of a more clear picture, but to say anybody has a full history or account of Atlantis, right? Like from that perspective, I would say I've never heard of it.
I mean, it's kind of written in the Sumerians, the Egyptian writings. I mean, it's alluded to.
The accounts of it, right? And Plato and...
It's in there, even before Plato.
I get all that, but I'm saying Plato, how detailed were they, like, talking about, like, interactions with Atlanteans, like trading goods with them?
Well...
Or just saying the accounts of, like, there was a civilization that perished by...
that's the story of Thoth the Atlantean. He came from Atlantis and basically started the Egyptian civilization and brought knowledge and brought teachings and brought writing and all these things. Okay. And the Emerald Tablets. Right. But Thoth the Atlantean was his name. Oh. So
I always thought that was just like ascribed to him, but I didn't know that was like...
the land of Kem.
The moniker.
Kem is south of the Giza Plateau. Today, I guess you could... there's like really strange pyramids down there. Yeah. But before Egypt, the ancient land was called Kem.
Did not know that.
And that's where Thoth, that's the accounts of Thoth the Atlantean, is he comes to the land of Kem. Okay. From the fall of Atlantis. So these are Egyptian stories.
Gotcha.
About Atlantis, really. I mean, right. So we can move on. Okay. How about the, this one's a good one.
This is a would you say it's a cryptid?
It's kind of cryptid-y.
But it's not a cryptid anymore because they actually have spotted them?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if we actually found Bigfoot, we couldn't call it a cryptid anymore.
Right.
Would it still fall under that category if we found a Bigfoot, or not we personally, but it like just the royal we of the world?
Declassified.
Like if you found Bigfoot, like it would...
primate.
Right. Well,
whatever the
potentially. What if it's a marsupial and has a pouch? We don't know. Could be like a duck-billed platypus and lay eggs of baby Sasquatches.
No, Bob. They're not. That's if it was in Australia. Now maybe the Yowie is part, but not American Bigfoot. No, sorry, they're not related to the opossum.
I'm just thinking of like a Bigfoot running up on you,
is
and
it
then like
opossum
another
or possum.
It's a opossum. But I'm just thinking of like a Bigfoot running up on you, and then like another Bigfoot springing out of like a sack on the belly, like out of this pouch comes another Bigfoot. Like that would be too much for me. Like Russian nesting dolls.
Maybe Australian Bigfoot, Yowies. I think they're called Yowies.
Oh, so this article comes from the Miami Herald on the 21st, and it says creature of island mythology is
real.
Jeff
Wilson sent us this one.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And Jeff did. Yeah. I was just thinking about the books and the like old pamphlet flyers and stories that he gave us as well. Yep. We need to go through those. So yeah, thank you, Jeff.
Already been digging in.
Creature of island mythology is real and a new species, researchers in France say. Bounded by stunning beaches and punctuated with rugged mountains, inhabitants of a small French island in the Mediterranean have long relied on agriculture and livestock herding. For just as long, folktales have warned of a creature lurking nearby. stories of the, I don't know how to say this. Is it Gatu? I would think it's Gatu.
I think
like
it's
the
Gatu.
J is the J is silent. The Gatu Volpa have been passed down in Corsica's island mythology. The French Office for Biodiversity said in a March 16th news release. Literally translated, the creature's name means cat fox. The cat fox is part of our shepherd mythology. Researcher and wildlife official Carlo Anton Cecchini told AFP in 2019. From generation to generation, they told stories of how the forest cats would attack the udders of their ewes and goats, he told the news outlet. Local officials began considering the fact that the cat fox, a real species in the 19th and 20th centuries. French officials said, for most others, the animal remained a myth. That changed in 2008 when the creature was accidentally captured. The mid-sized tannish orange feline was found in a local chicken coop. The incident sparked a rush of research. Scientists knew the cat fox was real, but not much else about it, French biodiversity officials said. So researchers set up traps and cameras on the Corsica and eventually captured 16 wildcats. The cats were genetically sampled. Some were fitted with GPS tracking collars and released. The cat fox initially looks like a house cat, but it has a soft coat with a tan brown color, has a distinct black ringed tail, which I just noticed in the picture. It's kind of strange. It looks almost like a raccoon tail.
Yep.
And it's much longer than an average cat, reaching just over 2 feet in length. So I don't know what the average length of a house cat is, but it's I guess, shorter than 2 feet.
Yeah.
I'm sure Charlie Day measured him before he put him in the wall.
Cat in the wall.
The animal's ears are also larger and its canine teeth more developed. So, you know,
Yep.
God help the little old lady that lives near these that's feeding them. And
Yeah.
good
That's
kitty.
a wild animal.
Coming in the house with a house full of cat foxes.
It's a mythical wild animal.
Gatu Volpa.
What? And just what? People just never believe the locals? Like, oh, yeah, there's this wild cat. No, there's not. No, there's not. That's myth.
I think it gets down to, again, like, oh, well, okay, I think it might get into it.
Yeah, eventually they got DNA.
How they get to, there you go. But like how they deny it, I think we've covered it a couple times in the essence of, yeah, no, well, I don't even know if it's the first. I think I made like 3 more before that. I was keeping count. I was trying to keep them down. Even before this, though, we've talked about and had guests that talk about, you know, well, if we're looking for this species,
Yeah.
we will be purposefully hindered to find that species so that whatever development can go through or whatever dam can be built or whatever, forest can be cut down. Nope, we don't know that there's a thylacine out here. Well, no,
Yeah.
the locals see it all the time, like Homo floresiensis, right? Another Jeff
Orang
article,
panda.
right? So,
Yep.
there are all these incidences of the locals have a very good beat on it. The billy apes,
Yep.
right? We see these
Vietnamese rock
things,
apes.
right?
The Cryptid Hunters has an episode with Vietnam vet that talks about his accounts with rock apes in Vietnam.
Oh, we got to talk about that.
I'm pretty positive I'm not mixing those up.
We might have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. They did come to the conclusion that this was a new species because of the DNA. They said that the wildcat was genetically distinct from its 3 geographically closest relatives, the domestic cats in mainland France, the wildcats in mainland Europe, and the wildcats of the neighboring Sardinia island. So how did it stay hidden for so long, right? So according to Pierre Benedetti, a researcher studying the cat fox, he said it's a very discreet nocturnal animal. So also cats are quiet, like big cats.
Yeah,
big,
if they don't
big
want you
cats.
to see them, you're not going to see
A
them.
little cat, you're never going to hear it or see it. It goes out at night. You're definitely not going to. Like,
Yeah. Oh, you remember when the dude in our comments in YouTube was talking about seeing black panthers near Cable,
right,
Ohio?
Right.
So I was on Cryptids of the Corn's stream last night.
Oh,
and
cool.
They were talking about, I put that in the chat. They were
ABCs.
He said there's truckers, Urbana, Cable, that whole area, sightings of black panthers all the time. So interesting. That guy in our comments mentioned that.
Yeah.
Just wanted to bring that up. Quick sidetrack.
Yeah, if you have a story about that or a sighting, I'm always kind of interested by those because I just started hearing about them maybe like a few years ago. And they don't have to be black either, but a lot of times they are. but just big cats in general where they shouldn't be. But
they're
think about
seeing mountain lions for sure.
Oh yeah, but think about like the exotic pet trade. If you didn't watch Tiger King, I've watched it 3 or 4 times, so I can fill you in. And when somebody, I think it was you, when you asked me if I watched Tiger King, I was like, I put it on and I didn't stop until it was over. I literally laid on the couch and watched that whole documentary.
There was nothing bigger than Tiger King.
I could not look away.
Oh, it's like watching a slow motion train wreck.
The most stunning part is the fact that like you could own this sort of like biological weapon. I have a small dog that I'm afraid of, like possibly, he has a fiery temper, and I've got to be careful with him. I couldn't imagine owning, a cloud leopard or a tiger or a liger or having hundreds of them. Like, again, but here's the thing, people get a boa constrictor, they get a caiman,
Burmese pythons in Florida.
They let it go. They let a predator out in a habitat it's not supposed to be in. There's lionfish in the Atlantic that
they
weren't
kill
there.
Everything, dude.
These people are going down with just spears and just murdering them, and they're starting to try
I've seen them every time I've gone scuba diving.
They're trying to popularize eating them and turning them into because there's so much.
That gland, you got to be able to.
They said they're not that. I don't know. From what it looked like, that's the promotion I was seeing, but much the same as like the crown of thorns starfish that was in Australia. Comes in and was starfish eat coral.
Yeah.
Decimating the reef. So to kill a starfish too, you have to kill each arm, because just from one arm it can regenerate. These things have 8 and they get like this big.
Yeah. How are you going to stop that?
They go down and scuba dive and they have these little guns and they spear each arm and they have to inject this poison. How do you
keep up with that?
You go out every day and it's like cleaning up trash.
Dedication.
Same thing in New Zealand. Craziest thing. Trees that were not natural, they would fly around in helicopters. I think this was the correct story, but they would fly around in helicopters because you'd see these dead trees all over. Like, why is that thing dead? And they're trying to maintain the natural foliage.
We need to do that here with honeysuckles.
They're shooting them with these dart guns from helicopters, like, and injecting this. Yeah, and killing them.
Yeah. We need to do that with honeysuckles.
Really wild.
Ohio, jeez.
That's basically some of the article. I mean, one of the other compounding factors for the elusive nature of the cat, obviously, living in a mountainous area.
Yep.
Lots of places to hide out, a lot of crevices, cracks. If you ever go hiking in a real mountain range, and I mean,
tail, bro,
you're back in there.
Oh yeah, you'll see weird.
You go around a corner and you're like, somebody could disappear in 4,000 different places. And a small little animal, again, like it has better sight, sound, smell than you do. Yeah, you're going to be hard pressed to find them. Like. Yep. There have been a number of examples like this.
Right.
But anyhow, that's my soapbox.
I wanted to go back just to be clear. Necro had a comment about the underwater structures.
Yeah, fire away.
I'm also a proponent of the Rickott structure in Africa.
I've heard of it. I know very little about it.
Being the city of Atlantis, when I said earlier that Atlantis was kind of in my opinion, a worldwide
I've heard that take.
Civilization, but the city itself...
Is there
the
work,
Rickott structure
is there work being
is
done?
Super interesting. Well, that's where your boy Third Eye Seeks on Twitter had supposedly a guy on the ground shooting video.
I thought it was him.
No, it wasn't him.
Okay, it wasn't him. Anyhow, no. But he goes in.
But he's in contact with Jimmy from Bright Insights and some of those guys that are
Jimmy
Rickott structure people.
And I know very little about it. So anybody that wants to tell us about the Rickott structure,
if it was a huge
go for it.
Continent, Cuba being an outpost of this culture known as Atlantis, the city of Atlantis, the civilization of Atlantis is kind of two things.
If you're that technologically advanced at that age, you're going to branch out. The Habmasives, right? That story about they were seafaring, going all over the globe probably at that time. So like, I almost don't even think that Atlantis is like the only unique, lost, really super advanced civilization. Like I think there were multiple.
Lemuria.
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody talks about Atlantis just because it's kind of like
it's a catch-all,
the most well-known, or
it's a catch-all for lost civilization that we have that's super advanced, that we don't have any information on. Okay, we'll move on. You're doing the next one.
Moving on, we are going to just do a little touch up on the UAPs that have been shot down. What's kind of going on with that? And this comes from the Black Vault online. And it says, in 2023, U.S. Air Force is known to have shot down numerous unknown objects, primarily described as balloons. So on February 4th, 2023, off the coast of South Carolina, February 10th, over Alaska, February 11th over the Yukon, and February 12th over Lake Huron were all events that took place and were heavily covered in the mainstream media. So on February 18th of 2023, the Black Vault filed a Freedom of Information Act request for a copy of all visual imagery captured from the shoot down of balloons/unidentified aerial objects, and asked that all classified/unclassified photos, videos, cockpit footage, personal cell phone videos/videos, and photos taken by the pilots could have given to the DoD, etc., be included in the release. So they're trying to like give us it all. We want anything. We want any whoever was recording it. You got a ring. You got a Ring doorbell camera that caught it. We want that.
F-18s are rigged out with. I mean, think about that footage we saw from that little helicopter footage of that Sasquatch after our episode with DA.
I would hope that they're rigged out pretty heavily with cameras.
Oh my God, yes.
You got to imagine that.
Dude, first of all the ones that are released, the Tic Tac, all those are blurred. They give those to the public. It's not high resolution, sharp as hell. I mean, those cameras are probably like 8K resolution and shooting in different thermal, you
bands.
Can,
yeah.
All kinds of different overlays and ways to see the image, whether it's, if it's at night, of course, it's going to be, night vision mode. Yeah. You have thermal mode.
You could do thermal, yeah.
And they're flipping through all these different settings. And they have recordings on all of that.
Yeah.
And we're not going to see any of it. We called this out from the beginning.
No.
I mean, they're all balloons. Now they're basically telling us, yes, they're all balloons.
Pretty much, right.
They were never
right. It was
UFOs.
About getting to a boil, and then they turned it off.
Yeah. And now the terms that they're using is balloons.
The UAP situation was like GameStop and the buy button being turned off. Like everybody was just hot on UAPs. Everybody was in. We recoined it.
Yeah.
UFO to UAP. It's
the Pentagon
now
reports,
in vogue.
Yeah.
Everybody's a UAP believer. Maybe not everybody, but it really changed the context around that storyline. Yep. So they asked for all of this, right, in their release. So on March 21st of this year, the U.S. Air Force responded and denied the release of everything requested.
I don't believe.
I don't believe. I don't believe. That's the office I work in. I want a stamp in the office of Shot Don't Believe.
I don't believe.
Says, don't believe. Shot Don't Believe. We'll go into that on another story sometime, but we have a potential audience member that knows what we're discussing when we say that, so we'll go deeper at that. But per the response, they said it is unknown how many photos or videos were discovered or are being withheld, but the explanation was the following, quote, the one fighter wing has conducted a thorough research for responsive records to your request. Your request was processed under FOIA and was coordinated with the Office of Primary Responsibility. Please note that consistent with your request under Exemption 1 and AFMAN 33-302, referencing Executive Order 13526 that apply to the continued classification of information, the requested information is withheld and not releasable. Please see Exemption 1 below. So here's the exemption that I believe is what they were claiming. So FOIA Exemption 1, 5 USC 552B1, yada, yada, protects from disclosure and national security information concerning the national defense or foreign policy, provided that it has been properly classified in accordance with Executive Order 13526. In this instance, Sections 1.4C and 1.4E of the Executive Order apply. If the information is qualified as Exemption 1, there's no discretion regarding its release. Another bunch of codes. Classification authorities are given great deference in deciding whether information is properly classified. Taylor v. Department of the Army. So here's the case from the judicial hearings of how they got this exemption. This is circa 1982 when this went into act, apparently, from what it looks like. And it says in the notes, according to, quote, utmost deference, so to affidavits explaining classification decision. So somehow this information from these UAPs that were just balloons, it's either those balloons were that sensitive a technology, even though they said at one point it was like Hobby Lobby enthusiasts.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, well, we have such a weird story coming
like
back.
Our friend.
If it's no big deal, you should be able to tell us it's no big deal.
Yeah. I mean, we know a guy that's been launching Mylar balloons, sophisticated ones, up into the air for years and years and years.
Right. This is the whole, you want me to take a dump in a box and mark it guaranteed I can.
All it be is a guaranteed piece of shit.
That's what we're getting here. That's what we're getting. They put the exemption on it to make you feel good. Well, then why did they put it on the box? Because, they sold you a
Make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
Late in the night, the guarantee fairy sniffing glue. There's money missing from the piggy bank. And your daughter's knocked up. I've seen it 100 times.
Oh, dude.
That's not a verbatim, but
I need
that's
to
pretty
rewatch
close.
that.
God, is that great. That's when he first gets his talent for
Tommy
selling.
boy.
That's
Oh,
the
I know.
Well, the chicken wing thing.
You were combining.
The chicken wing thing's the first time.
Right.
The second time is
Let
when
me
he
tell
sells.
you why I suck at selling.
Okay.
All right.
We need to
moving
have like a Chris Farley appreciation, like Strange Road special.
Yeah. In fifth grade, Bub wrote Jim Carrey a letter.
Oh, yeah.
He got a signed picture that said, "Spank you very much, Jim
Yep.
Carrey." I wrote Chris Farley
Yeah.
and got nothing.
I got my picture in our office here.
You do.
My wife wanted me to throw
Years
that away
later,
or
we
get
find
rid of
out
it.
that Chris Farley was on drugs, and that's why I never got a response back. More than likely from him, unfortunately.
Probably.
Oh man.
God rest his soul.
Anyways,
That's it for me on the U.S. Air Force. I think it's a.
yeah.
We're being told that we're going to have all this transparency and we're going to start this new
Classified,
office.
nope.
We got all these new people that are going to be the help desk for UFOs,
AARO.
and UAPs. Everybody, sorry, we'll have a help desk for UAPs, and we're going to be totally transparent.
Yeah.
You're as
No, you're not. We called that.
transparent as Vanna black paint.
Yeah. Not gonna happen, bud.
Yeah, we're never going to know.
This next one is from Neuroscience News and Research Technology Networks.
Heck yeah.
And Raraji McKenzie is the author. A new study has unveiled how psychedelics achieved their perception-altering effects in human brain. The research shows a powerful combination of brain analysis techniques to provide the clearest picture yet of how the short-acting but powerful psychedelic DMT affects the brain activity. DMT, the key ingredient in ayahuasca, DMT has a storied history used for thousands of years in rituals and ceremonies across Central and South America. It is a key active component of a potent psychedelic brew, ayahuasca. More recently, the compound was synthetically created by German-Canadian chemist Richard Mansky in 1931. The DMT experience makes it particularly promising as a therapeutic psychedelic. The University of New Mexico's Professor Rick Strassman, an expert in the compound, describes it as using an effect like visions, voices, a seeming separation of consciousness from the body, extreme emotional states in contact with seemingly disincarnate intelligences. But the compound does so over relatively short periods of time as compared to their classic psychedelics such as psilocybin. Dr. Rick Strassman, DMT, The Spirit Molecule, was the book that he wrote. And
the crazy part,
the documentary.
They were injecting theirs in their studies.
Now they're slow dripping.
Right.
They were blasting people into
With massive
higher
doses.
dimensions.
Right. It's like
where you go to alien world.
kind of like, I don't know who the chemist was that created LSD.
Albert Hoffman
Got it on his skin by accident. That's how he first
took
experienced
the
it.
magical bike ride.
He got it on his skin, right? Goes home. Well, when he took his first official dose,
Yeah.
he took like a stratospheric dose.
Yeah.
Because they had no clue how much to take.
Yeah.
So he took like the
drank
equivalent
some.
of like, I don't even know how many hits.
Like
And he was like,
hundreds of hits.
seeing the DNA helix and all kinds of crazy stuff. So, but with DMT, the potency of it now being even amplified from the ayahuasca or the preparation, that native cultures have before.
Yeah.
Putting it into like a medical, like right.
Well, now they're slow dripping people with
crazy.
it. They're just dripping.
Okay.
And doing it that way. And so what it's doing is it's having this longer, slower.
Less
You
intense?
still get there.
Less than 10. Okay.
But you just don't blast off into another, and then all of a sudden you're not there, which scares the hell out of people.
yeah.
So instead of just like
imagine.
taking that rocket ship to another dimension,
Yeah.
you're actually you'll eventually get there, but it's more like a mushroom experience where it's a longer, more integrated experience where you're just like gone for 12 minutes and then you go to another dimension, then you come back and you're in, I'm a person again.
You know what
me. What just
I've
happened?
used Flight of the Navigator references a lot, but it makes me think of that where like he's for a brief time in this very weird, not like I'm saying the psychedelic experience, but that whole sensation of that I've lost the sense of where I was and felt this place and that's where I'm supposed to be. And I'm in a place where I've never been before, but
people experience you're gone.
That dissipation.
Well, yeah. You don't have a body apparently.
I've heard that from a lot of like ayahuasca ceremony stories and retreat centers from different people in documentaries and stuff. Yeah, you hear a lot about that, and also a lot about the purging. I wonder if that happens the same with like DMT infusion.
Right.
I don't know.
And yes, Necro in the chat's talking about mapping the DMT realm in a visual form. They've been really trying to do that for a long time.
So there's like an actual landscape to this.
There's some people working, artists, and I guess you would call it augmented reality technology and some of that kind of stuff. But this is essentially a different type of...
You remember where you first heard about DMT?
Yeah, that crazy guy that when we were at...
No. Well, no. I mean, like officially, like on something. Remember when we were listening to? I think it was Rogan was on another podcast, and he was talking about him and Doug Stanhope, and like like went viral because it was just like nobody had ever even heard about DMT before. It was on the
Opie and Anthony show. Before podcasts. That thing. There's that recording of Rogan talking about.
I remember hunting that on YouTube just to listen to it, to hear how crazy it was and be like, what is this? What are you doing? Like, I thought getting drunk on a bottle of tequila was bad.
Yeah.
And feeling like you went to another realm. Like you're talking about you legitimately feel like it. The world dematerializes. I don't know. I mean, it's wild. Continue on.
Yeah, no problem. The DMT experience makes it particularly promising as a therapeutic psychedelic. I already read that part. That all has changed with the release of the new paper. This work is exciting as it provides the most advanced human neuroimaging view of psychedelic state to date. Said study first author Dr. Chris Timmerman from the Center for Psychedelics Brain Activity Analysis. Timmerman and colleagues recruited 20 healthy volunteers who were given a high-dose injection of DMT, 20 milligrams, and then subjected two types of brain analysis. They were fitted with an EEG.
Electroencephalography.
Thank you, Bub. And EEG cap and placed inside a functional magnetic resonance imaging scanner or an fMRI.
Pause.
You know what these are?
MRI scanner? Hell that's loud as shit.
fMRI?
Well, functional, I don't know what that means. Functional might just...
It's the same thing.
It might have a different connotation, but I mean, MRIs in general are magnetic resonance. They're super loud magnets.
Yeah.
So here's my question. You've just taken this dose.
And then they're going to hook you
inside this machine in this little tube?
No, bro.
I don't know. I could sign up for that.
No.
I would have a panic attack.
Yeah.
Like you would really
It's all about set and setting. I mean, everything you do when you're in that world, if we have any young listeners, the key to that is
that would be
the
a
set
lot
and the
to
setting.
handle, I think.
And that would not be a good setting for you to just go
anyone
just
as I had,
into the portal.
I remember people not wanting to have them just because they didn't like the MRI, like
the sound
regular, like sober. Mm-hmm. They wanted sedation to make it through that. Like it gave them that much anxiety. You get anesthesia cases for an MRI because people just literally are so phobic of it. They can't bring themselves to do it. That just totally threw me off. Like, hey, we're going to give you this
dose of the most
strong hallucinogen and then put you in what sounds like the bowels of a cruise liner ship with an old, steam engine, like
it's the bowels of the Titanic.
Sorry.
God.
Anyhow. Sorry.
So the cap measured electrical signals from the volunteers' scalps over 31 different sites.
Cool.
At the same time, the fMRI scan detected the movement of oxygenated blood inside the brain as a proxy for brain activity. This allows the team to create a detailed image of their participants' brain activity. Their trip lasted around 20 minutes in total. Over that period, there were dramatic changes in their brains. Brain activity is usually segregated into discrete networks. After DMT injection, those networks appeared to break down, meaning that overall brain connectivity increased. This aligns with the previous study of the brain response to psilocybin published by senior author Robin Carhart-Harris. The most significant changes were detected in the brain areas linked to high-level cognitive functions like imagination. Imagine that. Timmerman summarized the findings. What we have seen with DMT is that activity in highly evolved areas and systems of the brain that encode especially high-level models become highly dysregular under the drug. And this relates to the intense drug trip. The team now hopes to prolong DMT's psychedelic peak through the continuous infusion protocol. Carhart-Harris, now the University of California, San Francisco, added, our results revealed that when a volunteer was on DMT, there was a marked dysregulation of some of the brain's rhythms and would ordinarily be dominant. The brain switched in its mode functioning to something altogether more anarchic. It will be fascinating to follow up on these insights in the years to come. Psychedelics are proving to be extremely powerful scientific tools for furthering our understanding of how brain activity relates to the conscious experience.
So we've had these.
I mean, what
developed.
it's saying is that the brain just shuts off all the normal systems.
It's like taking down the fences between the goats and the horses and the pigs, and your brain and all these different parts start interacting together.
It just...
And the imagination section, and probably what they say about the dominant center, so your control, your ability to, adult.
Right.
Which is not a bad, but made me think of the video of the British soldiers. The old film where they're like...
Give them guns and go fight. They start laughing their butts off.
They give them LSD. They give them a mission, which is like, I don't even know what it is. It might it's like a half a mile or a
training
mile
exercise.
Directly downrange.
Yeah.
You need to walk this far and get to this building.
Yep.
They never make it. They end up in the woods. They're trying to feed the birds. One guy's wrapping his telephone cable around the tree. They're laughing their asses off.
Yep.
So now we're getting to this point where we can safely say that, oh, wow, we're going to study and understand so much. What it makes me feel like is this. We've known about UFOs and all the wreckage from Roswell since 47, and they've probably been here a lot. Like this, we're being slow-rolled so much.
Right.
Is that for our own benefit? Like when people say, like, trust me, you don't want to know. You couldn't handle it. Yeah. Is that for our benefit? I really don't know anymore.
Right.
Because it seems like back in the day, the hippies in that cultural movement were pretty, well, not just hippies probably, but scientists. Timothy Leary was a professor. Ram Dass was a professor.
Yep.
When they discovered hallucinogens and psilocybin, they, completely changed their career path and life in general.
You could say that.
So, it was being broached. And it was being used back in the day, but what did it do? It created the counterculture. Counterculture didn't want to go to war, didn't want to fight.
Far.
Then it tipped over a little bit. And then we shut the door on it. We're like, nobody can
Nixon
ever look in here again.
Is the hippies and the anti-war people and the Black Panthers are all doing LSD and marijuana. Well, gone. That's illegal. His right-hand man admitted that the drug war was really about banning the drugs to have a way to go after these groups.
Right.
The former Secretary of State of Nixon, pretty much on his deathbed, admitted that, this was all created.
Well, they didn't want to fight. Nobody wanted to get in a war if you were smoking pot and taking acid and going to Grateful Dead concerts. You want to give me a gun and I'm going to have to cut my hair and beard and put on boots and not flip-flops and go kill somebody I don't know in another country for
it rocks
what
your
reason?
State of conscience. And they were taking a lot, too.
Yeah. Oh, here's the other thing I was thinking. So if you get into psychedelic studies, think about people that are in vegetative states. There have been stories before of they were going to pull the plug on so-and-so and the father. There was one, this is a crazy one. I know this one's true. I've read it so many times. I know I've seen it across Twitter. It might have been dudes posting their W's or something. But there was this kid who was probably teenager, what have you, brain dead. The hospital wants to pull the plug. The dad barricades himself in that room with guns.
Yeah.
It's like, you are not pulling shit on anyone.
Yeah.
He woke up.
Yeah.
Totally fine. I don't know if it was a couple days later.
Yeah.
Just, what if you're in a vegetative state and Strassman comes along? He's like, I'm going to try to jumpstart you.
Yeah.
start slow dripping you with DMT.
Well, a lot of this stuff, like Necro was saying, they're mapping the DMT realm with those long trips with the slow drip that I was talking about.
Right.
So that, I guess that's
to see those connections,
because they have longer time, you can really get in there.
Well, and it's like seeing the actual, like you can measure your brain or my brain in states of happiness or anger and the same, and like, or if you're dreaming or stuff like that, right?
Yeah, you can't map it in 10 minutes.
This is like you have to be in the upside down of Stranger Things to be there to see it. So you got to take that DMT, and they've got to have a long, continuous ability. But they're also doing a double correlation with the blood flow.
People are seeing the same places. They're going to the same places.
But they're looking where the blood's being sent to as well.
I've
like
read
the uptick.
that.
I've never heard that before.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that about
Crystal Palaces. You never heard about the Crystal Palace?
No.
That's a place where people go.
I've watched like the Spirit Molecule, and I've listened to enough.
I've been in a lot of deep threads of experiential reading about similarities, but in the entities and comedian Shane Mouse.
Last I heard they were doing 1 hour trips. Holy sweet
that's
Jesus.
Incredible. And but here's the thing, you get there slower. It's a slow burn. So you're just not rocket shipped into another dimension. You have time to get there. It's like you have time to like, hey, let's get on the plane. We'll have a little cocktail, have a couple bags of peanuts, maybe like a cookie.
Getting in the hot tub slowly.
Maybe a biscotti. You want a little biscotti?
I love biscotti.
Hey, have a biscotti.
Actually, there's biscotti butter.
We're going to get there.
If you ever get it.
But you're going to get a cola. You're going to get a biscotti.
I got a cola.
Get yourself a drink, get loose.
Can't show it.
And then, hey, when you land, you get to that upper atmosphere, you're not quite as like, oh, damn. And so it's not quite as shaking. So they're able to map these places out over an hour period. Dude, that's great. You could live 2 lifetimes.
So this is starting to get like
experiences.
This is getting like Inception territory.
Yes. Where you're
literally getting like Inception territory,
creating the architecture of that space.
So I'm thinking if you could put yourself in like these sedative states where like you could turn off a lot of that input sensory, but still have like your neural activity, and then you're in this just raw brain generation. It's not taking in sensory data from outside, like the MRI machine sound or
No, they're not putting people in MRIs for this is a different study. The long, slow dose.
Oh, that's
drip,
different than what they're doing in the MRI study.
This is a whole different thing. But that's going on too. There's a lot of really cool studies happening right now.
Well, that frontier is starting to expand.
Get yourself signed up, bub.
Australia. If it's like the same molecule or chemical when you dream.
Yeah. And when you
could
die,
have that
when
on
you die.
What? Sure. And you could have that experience. Like I like to dream. If I could be in a controlled setting and they're like, hey, we're going to give you this hour-long, like easy, entry into this dream,
right? Like
state. I don't know. I think I'd probably have to give it a go. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
I mean,
hey, what this is like the Vikings. This is like the
Druids.
That's
Celts.
For psychology, this is like jumping in a boat and going and exploring something. That's like Christopher Columbus or the Vikings and whoever discovered America before them, the Knights Templar, jumping on a boat, not like knowing. Magellan. And they're mapping out these coastlines. That's what's happening here. They're mapping out these inner worlds is what they are. They're seeing the same
psychedelic explorers.
They're seeing the same worlds. They're seeing the same places. And so if you have enough of these shared experiences, maybe it is actually a place that you go to.
This is what I was just going to get to. So it's like, it's not like, we're all seeing the same NPC spirits in this realm. So does that mean
some of them might be,
they're the same? Like, so they are real things. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, people are going at different times and having. The
comedian Shane Mouse talks about this like violet purple, I guess like a gypsy woman.
A gypsy
that he
woman.
would see all the time.
Oh, okay.
And he started to get upset when she wouldn't like come around in the experience. And so like eventually something happened to where like he was fighting so hard that it's like, no, you're just a construct of my mind. Like you're not real, like pushing with this this
Entity? Yeah.
This is it part of your mind, part of your brain. But over a period of time, he was like rubbing Syrian rule all over himself, which is an MAOI inhibitor, like tripping for days. And then he ended up in a psych ward.
Okay.
Got a whole hour of comedy about it.
Came in a little hot on turn 4
and
there.
Just went way too deep. He was doing a documentary and decided to just go whole hog. Like, if I'm going to do a documentary about psychedelics, he just went all in. Ended up in a psych ward, kind of lost sense of reality, which...
Imagine so.
If you're doing that, you're only in that state of consciousness. This reality doesn't mean anything. This is dumb.
I can't fathom that experience.
You'd never want to go that hard. But to each his own. Do you want to wrap this up?
I think so, because we're going to get ready.
This has been a good one, a fun one. We covered a lot of different things on this one.
2 scoops of strange.
Had some good input in the chat. Always good to hear from you guys. This has been a fun one, and we'll be back in a little bit less than an hour.
Yeah. Coming in hot.
Go get a snack. Go get your guys
take a little break.
Come on back. Let's hang out.
Hold on. One lady in the Strassman trials had a DMT crocodile have its way with her sexually.
Well, yeah, dude. There's some strange experiences.
God dang it, Necro. Throw me these curveballs.
Love it. I love it.
Hey, thank you guys. Yeah, like Mike said, we will see you again here shortly. You know our socials by this point. Do we have to do the like, subscribe, 5-star?
You can find us at The Strange Road on pretty much everything. We are
I don't want to nag
Spotify,
anybody.
Google, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Hit that like, subscribe, and please notification bell on the old YouTubes.
Yeah.
You guys have really, really helped us. We reached some milestones where we're trying to figure out a couple super sticker and super chat stuff, and trying to not get wrapped up into trying to understand everything before we dive into some of these things in YouTube that we just unlocked. So, but we appreciate the heck out of all of you. We are signing off.
Yep.
And we'll see you guys in a little bit.
Later.
Peace.